Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari 8-bit games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the former, although I don't think we had our own copy of this because I certainly can't find it in my collection that we've got today. But I do remember playing it. Today we're looking at a 1985 release from English Software called Hijack. This is a very simple and straightforward game where you're rescuing VIPs from a hijacked train in a helicopter. But it's noteworthy for having some particularly impressive graphics. It was very much a technical showcase for what the Atari 8-bit was capable of. So it had parallax scrolling, it had good use of colour, it had some really large sprites, it made extensive use of display list interrupts to sort of have different graphics modes on the screen at the same time, and yeah, it was a pretty impressive game, even if it was fairly simple and straightforward to play. So I can't find out a great deal more about this game, to be honest. It was programmed by someone called Johal, as they're credited on the game's title screen, with music by DAS. But the actual identity of both of those people is a bit of a mystery, to be honest. Even on fairly reliable sources of information on this sort of thing like Atari Mania, there just doesn't seem to be any information about these people. So I don't know. If you happen to know who Johal or DAS are, then by all means get in touch. But neither of them have full credits in the game, and they're not credited in the manual either, so your guess is as good as mine. One other interesting thing about this game, and sort of culture in general at the time, is that during this period English Software was actively soliciting submissions from talented machine code game programmers. And if you looked at the manual of a lot of games from the period, they would specifically ask for machine code programmers to get in touch with English Software and submit their game creation to them for them to publish. That's not something you'd see today in modern software. But yeah, back then English Software was very active and proactive, I guess you'd say, in sort of soliciting new submissions for them to publish. And as a result, they became a popular, well-known and well-regarded publisher of games. So in 1985, the same year as Hijack released, English Software actually put out some of their most well-regarded and well-known games of all time. So besides Hijack, which is less well-known, we also had Electroglide, which we've seen on this series previously. Not a game I'd like very much, but a game that was, I don't know if I want to say influential, but it's certainly a cool game. Certainly one of English Software's most impressive games. They also released Chop Suey, which was a one-on-one fighting game themed around karate. That will probably come up on this series at some point. And Mediator, which is a very odd game that kind of defies description, really. I'm kind of hesitant to tackle it myself on this series because I'm not entirely sure I understand how it works or what you're supposed to do in the game or that kind of thing, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point. But anyway, today we are primarily concerned with Hijack. So let's go play Hijack. Okay, here we are with Hijack by the mysterious Johal, with music by the equally mysterious DAS. Yeah, not a lot more to say really. So this is from 1985 by English Software, and let's have a look at what we are supposed to do. So, this train is being hijacked, and there are VIPs that need rescuing. And it's up to you to get shot down by cannons while attempting to rescue them. So you rescue the VIPs by lowering your rope with the fire button. And then you have to carry them to the back carriage of the train and drop them off. At which point you will score points for them. So you get a flat bonus for them, plus the time bonus you can see in the top right there. So for the best scores you need to work as quickly as possible. But in the process you've got to avoid getting shot down by those cannons as well. You also have to watch out for trees, which appear in the foreground and cause you to crash. And like I say, that is pretty much it. But yeah, the interesting thing about this game is its presentation. So you can sort of see the amount of colours on screen at once is pretty high for an Atari 8-bit game. We've got that nice big helicopter sprite. We've got some high resolution sprites for the VIPs down below. which means that this game is mixing graphics modes. And we've got parallax scrolling, which is not something we saw very much at all in the 8-bit era. It's very much an effect that's associated with the 16-bit home computers, particularly the Amiga, as the ST wasn't very good at it. But here we can see, although it's basically fake parallax scrolling, or the illusion of parallax scrolling created through just some objects and then some otherwise flat... Oh dear! Some otherwise flat colours going on. Yeah, it's a convincing effect. And if this game reminds you of Choplifter, then yeah, you're not the only one to make that connection. Oh, tree. Oh, I hit it. Damn it. I think I caught my rope in it. Game over. Alright, let's carry on. Now, an interesting thing about this game is that it basically has a continue system. So you'll notice that even though I got a game over there, I can restart at level 2. And as we talked about a bit when we looked at Vanguard quite some time ago now, this was very unusual at the time because although arcade games were starting to incorporate that system, it was still reasonably rare. A lot of games were considered to be a sort of once and done type affair. And so the opportunity to be able to pick up where you left off in exchange for all your points, basically, was pretty unusual. Where are you, man number 3? There you are. Oh! Oh! Yeah, there's a lot to think about in this game. It sort of gradually creeps up on you as you're playing. More and more things to think about, sort of having to deal with the trees, and the cannons in the background, and the people shooting at you out the roof of the train. And see, there's nowhere on screen that's truly safe. Because if you duck down below the horizon... Let's go back to level 1, shall we? And do that by pressing start instead of fire to begin the game. Oh no! I'm not standing for that. Come on, tree, where are you? Of course, the one time I'm ready for it, it doesn't appear. Yeah, so there's nowhere on screen that is truly safe in this game, because if you duck down below the horizon, then you run into trees. But if you go above the horizon, then you're in range of the cannons. And apparently also you have to bear in mind things like getting your rope tangled in the trees. But yeah, simple though it may be, I think this is quite an effective game. I have some fond memories of playing this from when I was a kid. Like I say, I don't believe we ever had our own copy of it. I think what probably happened is that a friend of my brother also had an Atari 8-bit, and there were occasions when we'd sort of exchange and borrow software off him, and likewise he'd borrow stuff off us as well. And I think what probably happened is on one occasion Hijack was on one of the discs that he lent us. And for whatever reason, it's not one that we made a copy of. No, I've got a few games from the Atari 8-bit catalogue that are like that. I have vivid memories of playing, but I don't seem to be able to find the copy that I remember playing. And there's a number of games like that. Some of them I have very vivid memories of. Some of them less so. I just remember the existence of them. One that I believe might have been in that same batch as Hijack was, I think it was a Sesame Street themed one called Astro Grover. And I don't remember anything about the game itself. But I remember quite liking the game. And liking the other stuff that were on the disc with it. So, and again, that's one I don't seem to be able to find a copy of. In the collection I've got now, which is the collection that I grew up with. So, ooh! Right into that tree. So, I don't know. Anyway, I've definitely played this before. And I quite liked it then, and I quite like it now. As I say, it's nothing super special or exciting. But what is there is well implemented. Fun to play. Reasonably fair. Trees coming out of nowhere aside. And there's some cool graphical effects along the way. And really, what more can you ask for from a simple arcadey game like this? Does ramp up in difficulty incredibly quickly, though. I mean, it's not easy right from the beginning, but as soon as you get into that second level and they start shooting out the roof of the train at you, yeah, it's not easy at all. Where are you? There is no man to rescue. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I do like the fact that they bothered to sort of model the physics of moving alongside a moving object in this. So, like, if you stand still, so if you sit so that the background is not moving, you are not moving. Then you can see the train is continuing to move independently of everything else that's going on. And likewise, the train's relative speed on screen changes according to where you are and how fast you're going and that sort of thing. That's a really cool effect. Because it would have been so easy for them to just have the train effectively sitting still. Whoops. And just scroll it left and right. But there we are. I think that's probably enough of that for now. It's a fun game. Probably good for sort of 5 or 10 minute bursts at a time rather than playing over the long term, but a game I quite enjoy. So that was Hijack by English Software. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.